now we're going to start the stripped down clean build of the Traxxas Rustler. I'm going to take it all apart. I'm going to start with the body shell and clean that up, so I'm ready to go with that. Because I don't know what it's covered with. It's been sitting in a room and it's like, it's awful. Grotty as hell. So let's clean this body shell up. Even though it looks quite good on the camera, believe me, it is... The body shell's been cleaned, and we've give it a polish. But now we're going to put some modified parts on straight away. One of the things with these is the design of the body shell fitment. It is a bit weak. So what we're going to do is, well, I found this on Thingiverse, and they're strengtheners, and they just lay on like that. They look like grills, and they seem to use just the standard screws. Let's hope this works. That's the only problem, not enough thread. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the screws out to longer ones, because that is definitely an issue. Yeah, I've used 12mm in the front. They could be done with being a bit longer, and I've used 16 in the rear. But I only had 2 of them. But that's not going to pull off anytime soon. But I think they look quite good. Let's get the rest of the shell done. There we go, it's done. I used longer screws here, but I only had 3 of them, so I've had to use a 12mm. The 12s are okay on those ones, because it's going through less plastic. But that should stop the body ripping in a bad impact, just that little bit, because they're only little round screws and they can be prone to tear. So it's a little bit of extra strength. Traxxas do make a proper kit, but that would cost money and I didn't want to spend. Like I said, being truthful, I'm doing this on a budget, and the reason we're going VXL is because I'm pinching it out of the Slash. I'm not going to spend it on another one. And so all the best parts from one will go to the other. So let's get cracking. I'm going to rip the rear off and have a look in there and see what it's like. I'm going to test it for noise at the same time. There we go, it's all stripped out. Because of the low gearing on these, on the diffs on these, I'm going to run the speed gear that I've got on the Slash, because there's not excessive amount of difference in tyre size, and I know it runs okay on that, but I will be adding a cooling fan eventually to the ESC and a motor fan. But for now it's just to clean up and get this going. So now I'm going to start stripping the VLX system out of the other car and into here, and we'll get all the electrics done, and then we'll start working in reverse on the Slash, which I won't show because that's the Slash. It's the same, well, just parts in different places. This is one thing I like about Traxxas electrics. I'm using the servo which was in it because they're the same servos, because like I said, the Slash we had, it was only VXL from the parts from our old Rustler. So the vanillum system is in with the 17 tooth pinion, I think it is, which should, like I said, should be fine because of the lower gearing in the diff housings. But it's so lovely that everything just unbolts and bolts together. You know, it's nice and easy, and it's in within seconds. See the servo's working, and we've got power, and that's just testing it on a NIMS. So all I've got to do now is tidy the electrics up, fit the aerial, and that's this centre section done. And then, like I said, the next section will be working on one end at a time to get it all in, and it'll be the rears first, because of swapping around, because even though this is really immaculate, I'm going to swap one part off because there's a problematic part that it can be with power, and that's that little plastic piece. And on the other one I've got the aluminium upgrade, so I'm not going to waste upgrades, with the possibility I might be selling the Slash. Because it's not, because of the body, it's not fun for bashing, you know, and I don't use it much otherwise. So that's what I'm thinking. So let's get this all tidied up and the aerial done and everything, and we'll show it all buttoned up. There we go, everything back together. But now VXL chassis. So now I'm going to, like I said, rebuild the Slash centre, and like I said, put the old electrics back in there straight away. Now look at that. I'm going to keep the original slipper clutch because it's much bigger than the one that was on the Slash. So that one's definitely better for power. But the piece I'm going to change across, see on this one, is that piece of blue. Now there's the rear end of the Rustler all ready to go. It's got the diff from the Stampede because the diff was defective, because it had a dodgy seal, but I refilled it and put the seal back in place. And now shock absorbers. We got the single springs, which are not going on because I'm transferring over the alloy shock cap versions I done with progressive springs, which will be a lot better. So we'll get these cleaned up, serviced and on. Well, there's the two chassis. They're got the rear ends on, and so I've got a long way already. Now we've got to do the fronts. Now the fronts are going to be a bit different. Because we have to put a little upgrade on this and lose this plastic drive shaft. But that's, well, you'll see it straight away, but I'm finishing for today. I've just serviced the front diff. It's got new oil, well, topped the oil up. But this is an interesting 3D print. You take the bearings off and it pushes in to the cup. And so when you're filling it with oil, if you need to put it down, it stands upright to allow oil to settle and all that. So look that up on Thingiverse. That's quite a good little thing. Yeah, it's a useful tool for servicing diffs. But that's another diff done. This one I'm happy with, so this will go back in. That's a good diff. The seal weren't damaged on this one, so that's pleasing. And just the bearings to go back on. You know, it's intriguing, you know. And also it helps for this. Gives you something to push that bearing back on, because this side being on metal, it fits with ease. There we go. That's the diff all service. Now let's get cleaning on the cases and get this, all the diff stuff. Well, no, I won't do the diff stuff. I'm going on to steering, and it needs a good clean. I'm going to strip it down first, but I'm going to upgrade it. And no, they're the wrong size. What did I do with them? Oh yeah, they are. I've got two sealed and two unsealed, but I'm putting bearings on the steering blocks. Makes it just that little bit smoother. It's not a huge difference in my opinion, but it does help. There we go, nasty bushing's gone, nice smooth bearings. So I'm going to rebuild the bulkhead and put that on. I don't think there's anything else on this part of interest. That's the upgrade at this stage, is just 4 little bearings. And they're funny, they're just little 850s, like they use in Tamiyas. But I was lucky I had a set of 4. going to be adding some upgrades. This is the spline for the front casing. I'm going to fit that now. And an alloy drive shaft. So we'll get them on. It only fits on to here. It's quite an easy fit. You just literally push it on and put a grub screw through with a pin. It's that easy. And then the shaft you fit in the middle when we do the main reassembly. One thing I noticed was a slight mark on this arm, and what it is, it was the drive shaft catching. So all I've done is move it up one, just took it up a little bit, and now on full drop it can't touch it. It won't affect the angle of the steering much because it's just gone up such a small amount. That's weird. You'd think they'll set it better. Oh well. Now we've got to get it all back together. Like I said, we've got the new centre shaft, and what I've done is I've put O-rings onto the splines, see, which is good. But there is adjustability. You can move if it's too tight or too loose. Like I said, I fitted it these were fitted on the other one to take out rattle. So hopefully they work okay. This is the hard bit, it's getting it back together, the steering on. Let's take that out for a sec. Yeah, it's funny, the front is on a pin, but the rear is just a grub screw. Get the screw in. Get the drive shaft in. And then hopefully it will slide together. Almost in. You've got a little clippy thing at the front you've got to get under. We're in. And they're a bit too tight, so we'll loosen the screw off. Yeah, that's quite tight against the old one. Yeah, I might have to remove one of the O-rings. 2 is too many. Here we are at the end of the clean up and rebuild of the second-hand Rustler 4x4. Like I said, it's got the full VLX, it's got the upgraded shock cacks, it's got a centre shaft now. It's got a better slipper clutch than what I had in the Slash, but that's from this one. I've put bearings in the steering, serviced the diffs and give it a good clean up. And like I said, it's now should be a lot faster, but it is running a much higher gearing. But like I said, the diffs on these are lower geared than the VLX. So I think running the 17 won't be too bad, but we'll see how it goes. But I've got on order a wheelie bar, because the standard one is not very good and it flexes too much. So I found on YouTube somebody said, oh, use a Hoss one, it fits. So we're going to put a Hoss wheelie bar on it, partly to protect the rear body a bit as well. And we've got a fat cooling fan come to clip on here to protect the temps a bit on there. And eventually might add a fan to the motor, but that's future stuff. But the body shell's all done. Like you know, it's got the upgrade bits for a bit more strength, but I had to use other screws. getting the body on. I think people have trouble because the sides pop in. You have to get the sides in the right place. But once it's on, yeah, it's on there. I know the front can be a pain, but no, there we go. One thing I've done is, the back still seems low, but I've moved the shocks in, so they'll be slightly stiffer on handling, and to take the height up a little bit. But I could always drop them in on the angle. There's more adjustment left, but then that would be defeating the object. But yeah, I'm quite happy with it, and now we've got to get it out for a run.